with Dad.
Fire with Dad, baby.
Be back in a second.
Cha-ching, baby. Cha-ching.
Okay, Dad.
What?
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Well, you're the one that was gone.
I was gone for a couple hours last Thursday. I had to drive to Cleveland. I was on the Restauranttopia podcast with some of the amazing people from Hillcrest Foods up there.
Cha-ching.
So they stole your son from you for a couple hours.
No big deal.
No big deal. So you're going to call the hit off? Because I had heard there were some guys here with some weird earrings and some face tattoos.
Yeah, I called the boys from Chicago.
Chicago,
baby. Called the boys.
Oh, you know them?
I don't know.
People leaving.
Cha-ching, baby.
People leaving the office. We're in the studio. I thought that would be a cool idea, having the window when you walk in the front building and the studio window being there and you can do the podcast. Sometimes it's distracting.
Well, how you doing, guys?
Because you're waving at people and you're live. I mean, we're live on the interweb. There's got to be at least 1 million people watching right now.
I would think so, at least. I mean, fire with Dad, babe.
Fire with Dad.
Like I said, we're probably into our third year doing this, or even fourth year doing this.
I have to look back and see. It's been at least 3 years.
That's right. It's been a while.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we did the first one, I think, back in when at the track place. We were doing that. Do you know Matt Platt?
Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
I know. Oh, we were.
Thanks a lot. You just agreed it was terrible. No, that was back in the old days.
I know Matt Platt.
My first ever podcast was I Know Matt Platt.
Cha-ching, baby.
It was forced though, because there was some stuff a lot of guys told me like it was a good catch term, you got to do it, but it wasn't. That sometimes you can't force things.
Nope.
Okay, so let's talk about a topic. So
apparently it's a surprise topic today.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, you didn't tell me.
Well, I made the post, so like this went out on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn like 30 minutes ago.
Well, I've been busy doing my training for sales training for you guys.
Okay, so I thought it was ironic that we got into the boat business because we were in the boat business for I guess 9 years or so.
Well, I was in it for 20 years.
You were in for 20. And the irony about it was that my quote I put was, "Who would have thunk that two guys who almost sunk got into the boat business?" Remember the trip to St. Mary's Lake? That was a 19.
Well, that was we were going to a Coachman rally.
It was a Coachman camper rally. It was our first boat we ever owned. Well, I guess we had the Super Snapper.
Yeah, but that was the first speedboat.
Yeah,
that was a Mark Twain.
Mark Twain,
16-foot,
1984 Mark Twain,
and 90 horse Mercury engine on it.
And so we go to Lake St. Mary up in where is that at? Columbus, Ohio.
That's actually all the way up. You go up I-75 and get off about 65 miles north of Dayton.
I don't need the exact directions. I just need like it's north of
Dayton. It's north of Dayton.
Okay, there we go. So it's probably
northwest of Dayton.
So it's probably near Jackson Center where Airstream's made, somewhere.
Pretty close.
So we get out on the water, and apparently we're morons. And when I say we, that was probably
14, 15.
Yeah, so I was allowed to be a moron. You almost killed me.
Oh, I did not.
We almost died. And so we get on this boat and we're driving, and it's
we'd been in it about almost 25,
30 minutes. And it's got the ski locker that if you're familiar with boats, the middle of the boats, a lot of them will have a little door you open up. You can put your skis and stuff in. Well, this had a teak insert. So you could not only, it made the floor, but you could see through it to the bottom of the boat. And I remember looking down there and I'm like, there's water down there, Dad. And you're like, oh, yeah, no big deal. That's what happens. You know, boats get water in them. Okay. We're driving more. And I started seeing shit floating down there. Like the skis that are in the locker are now floating. They're not a little water. It's full water. And you're like, oh, shit, we might have put the plug in. And what was it? Roger was his name. Roger Crowder. That guy was kind of angry, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like an
angry. He's looking for a place to get. He's actually looking for a place to happen.
He was a angry elf.
Oh my God.
Will Ferrell would say. But anyways, he was the guy that told us about the boats, how to do it. He's like,
I actually bought it from him.
Oh, that was his boat?
Yeah, I bought it from him.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought because he had a bass boat.
No, but he also had that boat. And he had his back lot, and we got to know him. I went over and bought his boat.
Okay,
so $3,800 for it.
So we got this boat. We're on the water. We realize the water is now coming over the floor. We put two and two together, and you're like, oh, shit, we didn't put that plug thing in because you had it in your hand. So the boat's got a plug. And so we turn around, and we head back to the dock. And I don't know how we made it because by the time we got back there, we were barely moving. We get it on the trailer backed up. I bet that thing drained for what? Probably 30 minutes.
Oh, longer than that. It drained. As a matter of fact, I don't think we put it back in the water again because I think it drained for so long. Basically, the day basically was over.
The day was over.
And then it was a good thing though, because remember that we were out after we got back out. We were going to go back out here. All of a sudden, the skies went darker than hell.
It was meant to be.
Exactly.
It was meant to be that we almost drowned.
Exactly.
So I'll give you some other moments of almost dying. So
Almost
I remember in that boat. This time is legit. So we're in that boat, and you're with your buddy Larry Gillum.
Oh, Jesus.
So it was a few beers into the wind. Is that the few sheets into the wind? Is that the same?
He was 4 sheets to the wind.
There's 4 sheets to the wind, and we're driving. We're on the Kentucky River by in Carrollton by Perry Park, and it's not a wide river. It's narrow, and so there's a lot of barge traffic too. And so I'm on the back of this boat. Well, the rule of thumb when we were in other boats was you didn't stop. You kept going because a barge is 50 feet from you. It could suck you under. And I'm little, and I'm back there slalom skiing, one ski on the back of the Mark Twain. Your first time ever pulling me, and this barge comes in. And Larry's too drunk to tell you not to stop. And I'm back there yelling, keep going. And I'm thinking I'm going to die because this barge is literally 25 feet away from me. And I guess Larry's like, oh, yeah, keep going. And thank God I was a good skier because a lot of people would have fallen. I was literally just plowing water with the ski up in the air. And you finally took off. So, yeah, you almost did kill me there.
Oh, I did not.
I might call
Although the wildest one was when we were out with Larry one night, and we had our little dog, JR, with us.
He flew out the boat.
And Larry decides to take a sharp turn or stop, and JR went flying about 10 feet in the air. My wife wouldn't get in the boat again with him again. You almost killed my dog. You almost killed my dog.
So we've had some fun time on the water. You never saw this one, but I thank goodness Christy didn't because we were down at the Bullet Bass Boat Owners Tournament in Tennessee.
That's where that guy did 100 miles an hour, and he took his hands off the wheel.
No, it wasn't his hands off the wheel. So he's driving on this. And if you guys don't know bass boats, they ride on a pad. It's like, basically this much by this much on the back of the boat. And if you get up on pad, it just takes off. And so he's in this Bullet doing about 100 miles an hour. And I'm on this. Christy had just left with the kids. It was me, Christy, Paige, and Cole out on the water, having a good old time, not doing anything crazy. Well, probably something a little crazy. She leaves. And no sooner as she leaves, this guy comes flying across the showing off there, buddy, because there was about 100 boats there. And there's this big sea ray digging a wake. And this guy, I guess, either didn't see it or thought he could go over it. And he hits this water doing 100 miles an hour, hits, goes up in the air, does a 360. He goes one way, the boat goes the other way. They go out there and catch him. He's in the water floating face down, broken back. He was in the hospital for like a year. While he was in the hospital, he ordered a new Bullet. But I remember thinking, man, thank goodness Christy didn't see that shit because I'd never be on a boat again.
Well, we were a Bullet dealer, and the Bullets were known as probably it and the Allison were the two fastest boats in the water. And the Bullet it didn't have a lot of fancy stuff on it. It was like a fountain boat with fast boats as far as the cigarette boats.
Yeah,
it was stripped down. And this thing here, and it was light, and it would just fly. And if you put a 250 or 300 on the back of that thing, it would do 100.
You remember when I was in college, you worked at Captain's Cove. You were doing consulting there. And we had a Stratus. It was a Stratus, not a bass boat. It was a Stratus.
Pleasure boat, 20 foot, but I had a 460 in it.
Yeah, I had a 460, and it was fast as shit.
Oh, my God.
Well, I didn't, I don't know if you remember this. I didn't know that between the bridges downtown, it was a no wake zone at certain times. And so me and the Gers twins, and that thing had through-hole exhaust. It was loud. We're down there crushing it, showing off for women. I mean, we were probably 20, 19. I guess I would have been a freshman in KU, probably 19. Yeah. And I get a call, and you're like, hey, and this is like my first ever cell phone, I want to say. You're like, you need to slow it down. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, the boat. And I'm like, well, what do you know we're doing? He's like, somebody just called me. Then somebody that knew the boat, called me, and I got in trouble. So whoever you were that called my dad, you remember who it was?
No, I have no idea.
You're going
I
down.
remember that.
You're going down. If
I remember that. That boat was faster than Grease Lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the fastest boats I think I've ever owned.
No, we had bass boats ever.
I know, but I mean, it was the Stratus, and again, that company was owned by Earl Bentz as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and that whole design was designed to be faster than Grease Lightning, because everything.
Who's Grease Lightning?
He's the guy. He's a little Italian guy down in.
No, is that a cartoon character?
I don't know.
You said fast as Grease Lightning. Grease Lightning.
Well, that's fast as Grease Lightning. That's an old saying from way back when.
Let's see what that saying comes from.
But anyway, Earl, all his boats were built for speed, and so that had a super fast. Some pleasure boats have fast hulls. That had a fast hull.
Siri, what is fast as Grease Lightning?
This ought to be interesting.
Here we go. Grease lightning idiom. See what it means. Knowyourphrase.com. The origin and meaning. The cheetah is used to describe fast in the blink of eye, lickety split on the double. The origin. Well, lightning has a reputation for being fast. According to the measure of things, a lightning bolt can travel 217 miles per hour. That's pretty fast. Blah, 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 blah. So lightning's fast, but when you grease it, well, lubricants make things. Okay, so there wasn't a superhero. It's just literally.
It wasn't some guy with a little.
I kept envisioning like there was some guy named Grease Lightning.
Like Spider-Man?
They're just saying lightning. That's
Spider-Man, Superman?
Yeah.
Ching, baby.
That's all I got today.
That's about enough.
You've almost killed me a couple times.
Oh, baloney.
You know what? The one time, okay, I'll tell you this final story. You almost did kill me. Remember the deck when you had to take the deck down at Perry Park?
Oh my God! I hit you with a hammer.
With an axe.
I know.
So these new owners came into Perry Park and changed the rules.
He sold. I guess you said he's Ed Carlisle.
We don't need the whole story. Somebody came in, bought the place, and changed the rules.
Changed the rules.
Okay, so you couldn't have a deck anymore that was permanent because it was a campground, and so we had to take this giant deck off.
It was 20 by 20.
20 by 20 deck
with a roof.
Poles in the ground with a roof. Roof or roof?
Roof.
With a roof. Is that the same as a roof?
A roof.
Okay. With a roof, with a ceiling fan. I got hit in the eye by the ceiling fan one time. Remember that? Yeah. I stood on the table, it knocked me off. See, your ceiling fan almost killed me, so you're liable there. But anyways, I don't know what you were doing with the axe.
I was knocking the wood down. I missed it.
And you know what other thing you were doing? I learned a lesson after this. You never wear gloves when you're doing. You had those generic brown gloves on you get from the hardware store, no grip, and you swing an axe. That thing came flying, and the butt of it hit me in the stomach and knocked me down.
Yeah,
So that I'm right there. You almost killed me.
Well, I hurt you.
You almost severely injured me. You almost took my appendix out.
Well, they came out eventually.
They came out eventually.
I may be the rule. I may have caused that.
There you go.
25 years later.
Okay. It's okay. Somebody's calling. Christy's calling. I got to go. We're done with Fire with Dad. We'll see you next
Cha-ching,
Thursday.
baby. Cha-ching.
Hold on, Dad. You got to give me another cha-ching. Ready?
Yep.
Now.
Cha-ching.